friends, and welcome back to Paint Bravely, the podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun, and most importantly, learn to paint bravely. So get out your paintbrushes, walk your cat, let's get this thing going.
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. A lot of hobby stuff going on. Why don't we start off with a real good one? Well, I need you to tell me about some stinky models.
Well, you just blew the surprise right there. All right.
Did I? Okay.
All right. I've got
a
box of models here on my desk, and this is the same kind of box I use for kind of all my storage. It is, I think, 13 liters. It's a clear, Sterilite kind of Rubbermaid sort of thing. Very handy for storing models. But if I crack this one open, take the lid off here. Hey, hold on.
You can do it.
Let me act this out for the audio listeners.
Yeah.
Oh.
It visibly looks awful. Even the cats are wondering what's going on.
Yeah, Snuffle smelled that from across the room, came right on over, like, ooh, what's going on here? It smells like dead fish, or at least dead animal. There's something terribly wrong with something inside this box. And I don't know the answer. This is a mystery that we're going to have to solve together. I just wanted to put it out there into the ether. You know, a little storyline for folks at home to follow along with. Part of the Paint Bravely lore.
The stinky box.
Brent has like a couple dozen of these boxes, and this one that is mostly storing kind of overflow 3D prints. We've got some extra 3D printed dinosaurs in here. We've got some extra 3D printed Warcraft 3 buildings.
Right.
You know, I'm seeing some Twin Goddess minis, some extras of those in here. And we also have a smell of decaying fish. Or rodent. Or rodent.
I mean, there's a couple things that could be going on here, right? Since it's 3D prints, right? Technically, maybe, you know, you had some resin that turned and it's not quite cured. Maybe you didn't hollow it out all the way, or there's not like a hole in there, or it's like a crack and it's just leaking out a little bit.
You know,
it's not like excess resin all over the place.
That doesn't sound right to me, but at this point, I'm not ruling anything out. Like,
alternatively, you printed something that was hollow. And since your printers are in your basement, right?
Some sort of lizard got into my printer during the print run.
Exactly. Yeah, you left the lid off.
Never say never.
Get that sweet time lapse.
Life finds a way.
And it hopped in. Yeah. And now you're left with a tiny coffin.
Yeah. Well,
that isn't holding it in.
Look, pals, this is not important, but if anyone knows why my box of models smells, you please type it in the web zone comments below on YouTube / Paint Bravely the podcast. And yeah, take a look at this clear box. I don't see any dead corpses in there. I've been rooting around. I've been holding individual models up to my nose to give them a sniff.
It's a little sniff,
It's pervasive, yet delocalized, yet you take that lid off and, oh man, I feel bad for what that cat is experiencing right now. Yeah. So
I mean, the fact that the cat came up immediately when you opened it too, it's like, oh, there is something in here.
We got something going on
for me to look at.
I'm gonna put this away, but please, if anyone can help me with my little issue, you let me know. If anyone has the answer out there, you know, don't keep it to yourself.
It's very good. Oh man, it reminds me. So I started a fish tank.
How's that going?
It's good now. I feel good about it, but you know, I didn't exactly know like what was going to happen. Like I knew that, okay, I treated the water, I put it in, cause I was transferring the fish from my pond to an inside tank. It's like a 9-gallon tank, so that, you know, they wouldn't freeze over the winter. Right. That's
you got like a plastic tank.
I think it's glass.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you know, it's glass for sure.
Okay.
It's one of those like Fluval 9-gallon spec freshwater blah 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 whatever. It's a pretty cool looking tank.
Okay.
It's got LEDs. Are that sweet RGB, you know.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, so you got a fish inside.
Yeah, the fish are doing good, but you know, I didn't know that it did that whole like bacteria bloom thing. It was all dirty looking, it was gross, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I'm like watching YouTube videos and people are telling me it's fine. And I'm like, no, it doesn't look fine. And it started smelling like really bad, like noticeably, like in the house, it smelled. And I'm like, did something die in here? Is it still in here? Did it get sucked up through the filter or something? Turns out, no, it's fine now. Like it cleared up yesterday, and today especially looks like real good. And the fish are super happy. But yeah, the transfer didn't go as well as I'd hoped. Lost a few fish prior to actually even bringing them into the inside of the house, which is weird. It's not even been that cold out at nighttime, still in like the 70s and 80s, but for some reason or another, a couple of them just didn't make it.
Well, I used to work at a tropical fish store, and I can tell you that among the goldfish people are a separate type of customer. Well, let's get out of the way. You got your beta, you got your beta fish customers, a lot of children, first pet kind of situations. You got your saltwater reef aquariums, you got your freshwater tanks, you got your freshwater planted tanks, you got your African cichlid tanks, and each of these types of fish keeper fits a stereotype. Like they go into neat little brackets. Now the goldfish people.
Okay, because I bought goldfish.
Well, the goldfish are not going to be very happy with you putting a goldfish in a 9-gallon tank. This isn't even me just riffing off of the tank is too small. This is the accepted wisdom within the goldfish community. So,
right.
Please also type that in the comments of this video.
This is a temporary indoor fish container from my pond, and I'm humanely not letting them freeze to death. Thank you. I'm just gonna put that up there.
Way to get ahead of that one, Casey. Yeah.
Yeah. They did great all summer. It was awesome. They had a great time in the giant bucket.
They're happy. I can look at him and see that he's happy. So just so you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's 2 fish in this tank, right? Mm-hmm. In the 9-gallon tank, and they don't seem disappointed about it. And I know that the goldfish is going to get bigger. It got a lot bigger in the pond from when I got it, because I bought a feeder goldfish, and it was real small, and now it's like 2 inches long.
Casey and I, we like fish. We like to paint minis, but we also like fish.
That's true.
I've seen some pretty cool minis that feature fish. Like
yeah, that's true.
Characters riding like a giant koi and stuff like that. That's pretty cool.
Next level. Yeah, Kenny Boucher painted one of those up a couple years ago.
Oh yeah,
that was a good one. I think it was one of the first times where like oil washes were like a big deal. I think because I'm pretty sure that's the one he started using like a lot of oil washes on, and he's like, this
That's possible.
Too easy.
I want to say that was an early Titan Forge release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Kind of like a...
Yeah, because he printed that out.
An Asian pagoda kind of set. And one of the characters was riding around on a giant magical koi fish. Which is like a pond goldfish. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly like a pond.
Brought it back. Saved it.
Yeah. Well, actually, bringing it back is that, so I had Stinky Goldfish Tank, and you have a box of minis that smell like dead fish.
All right, we're getting ourselves into a real pool table kind of situation here, Casey.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, then let's talk about paintbrushes. How about that?
We can do that.
Okay.
All right. I got more props today, so if you're following along at home, I am moving onto the screen 2 large salsa jars filled with very, very dirty brushes.
There's salsa jars.
So I'm on a little bit of a project these days to figure out how to clean some of these brushes. And I'm speaking to you now after putting out a video using my microscope here to look at paintbrushes.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually fascinating.
Yeah, it was.
So... Yeah. For dirty brushes, you could see like where the paint was all glommed on in there. And then I did wash some of them out with isopropyl alcohol, and that got all the paint out. And at least under the microscope, those paintbrushes looked a lot better after the cleaning. And I've done a little bit of painting with a few of those that I cleaned out with isopropyl alcohol, and they're working. Like it's a little bit harder to keep the nice tip shape, but like every 5 or 10 minutes, if I do wash it out, reshape the tip, like it still works. Still works.
Yeah. That's generally my experience with like cleaning out brushes that have been around. It's like you can get away with, some larger base coating and less detail oriented work, but they still work.
Yeah. But that was a hard reset that I did on those brushes with the 91% isopropyl alcohol from the first aid section of the store there. Yeah. And it works. It got the paint out. It got the paint that was like forcing the bristles apart and allows you to kind of sculpt it back into a point. And so that was nice. And I think later this week I want to try that trick of boiling the tips of synthetic brushes.
Oh, okay.
So, back up a second. Like what I learned looking at bristles under the microscope. Okay, so bristles are conical shaped, or they do start thick and then taper down to the points. Like that is how they work. I hadn't really thought about it before. Part of me was just like, our brushes shaped the way they are because you got some short bristles in there, and towards the middle you got some long bristles. But no, I think most of them are all the same length. It's just that they start out thick, they go to thin, and so the shape of the paintbrush naturally tapers to a point. And when I was looking at the tips of synthetic brushes versus natural hair brushes, there was a pretty big difference. So the tips kind of taper down to about the same tiny little size. But on the natural hair brush, I mean, it's very evident that nature has decided exactly what the shape of that tip should be. And it's tiny, but it's like rounded at the very, very tip.
Right.
And, whatever biological processes made that bristle, that hair, like they knew exactly what they were doing. That hair is exactly the shape that it was made by the Almighty to be. Like it is exactly what it's supposed to be. But if you zoom in on a synthetic bristle, like a Golden Taklon or something like that from a cheap multi-pack brush, starts thick, tapers to a fine point, but if you zoom way in on that fine point, it looks brittle. Like it starts to get gnarly towards the very, very end. It gets very, very thin, but if you look at it, like it doesn't look happy towards the end. Like
it didn't look so good.
It's almost hard to explain, but you can see like the little imperfections. Like, oh, that's where it's going to snap. That's where that synthetic bristle is going to snap or badly bend and deform. And all of a sudden, like that is where the hooks on the tips of used synthetic brushes come from. And so that was pretty cool to see. If you've been listening to Paint Bravely, I like synthetic brushes. I like the feel of them. I like the cheapness of them. I mean, to a point, like, I like that they are not coming directly from an animal. Synthetic bristles are coming from oil, which is ancient dinosaur blood, as we all know, but...
Right. So, in a sort of way.
But yeah, so I don't know. Like I putting things under a microscope, didn't know what I was going to see, and I basically convinced myself to pay more attention to natural hair brushes. Was the result that I came up to, and
I was kind of hoping that might have been the case.
Yeah, well,
like the conclusion that you were going to draw is like, well, maybe they were a little bit right.
Yeah. Yeah. But of course, coming to that conclusion is like, it's worthwhile to kill those Siberian weasels to get their tail hair. Like, that's
sure.
which I have mixed feelings about.
Yeah.
Knowing where to get the best bristles is useful information, but convincing yourself that the best way to get those bristles is from weasel tails, that not great. And so that kind of the comment section of that video did bring up the ethics of synthetic brushes versus natural hair brushes and all that. Fair enough.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it usually does. Like when you start talking about brushes, like that's going to happen.
Yep.
And there are obviously alternatives out there. Like I don't know if they just source them differently or if it's just more available. But you get like goat hair and wolf hair and things like that. So I actually just ordered some of the wolf hair brushes.
All right.
Yeah, I haven't gotten them in the mail yet. I haven't tried them, but they look cool. And I'm like, okay, well that seems like, I mean, I can't imagine that they're going out like killing wolves for hair. They just take some scissors or something.
Probably. Yeah, that seems more reasonable.
I would think.
Yeah.
Right. Like those wolves are big. They got a lot of hair. You just snip a little off the back end and make some brushes out of it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
But they look good. They look good in in the pictures or whatever. So we'll see. I did get some goat hair dry brushes. I used one today and it was pretty good.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Same thing. I don't know if they just shaved the goat and
probably.
Yeah.
That's how I like to imagine it. Yeah. The happy little goats on a farm. Nice farmer comes by. Their friend, the farmer, comes by, gives them a little haircut, goes to the back room, starts making them dry brushes,
Exactly. Just sitting there, putting together little goat hairs and shaving them down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think that they would do that with the weasels too. And I swear I read somewhere that there was some brush that was like that. They tried that. Or I don't know.
Yeah, I do not know. I mean, it's one of those things like factory farming to a point you don't want to know how it happens. And I think for some of the sables, they also are hunted in the same way that, people still hunt prairie dogs as varmints, and the way that people, hunt squirrels or whatever. And
prairie dog brushes, that could be interesting.
Well, there you go. That's your new unethical get rich quick scheme, Casey. Go for it.
Yeah. Prairie dog brushes, all natural.
Paint Bravely episode 100, sponsored by Casey's fabulous prairie dog brushes.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah. But no, I certainly am curious about looking into alternative natural hairs and also the kind of wide variety of synthetic bristles that are out there. And I always get excited when I get an experiment to work. And so just the experiment of let's zoom in on the tips of these bristles and see if we can glean any information was an experiment that worked. And now I want to see if we can broaden that out a little bit and learn anything more. So
yeah, well, I definitely like the idea of at least taking your natural hair brushes and making them last a lot longer. Because if you want to get ethical up in here, then that would be the way to do it. It's like, well, those brushes are there.
They sure are.
They're there.
They sure are. Yep.
So let's make them do some work.
Yep. I mean, I have my salsa jars of dirty brushes here that I'm going to try to clean out. The vast majority are synthetic. Like looking through, I think almost all of them are synthetic brushes in these salsa jars here. And I suspect that they will be harder to get good points back, and that it is harder to get a long lifespan out of them. But also, going through this many brushes, that is increasing the amount of plastic bristles used, the amount of metal ferrules, the amount of wooden handles. And I don't know, when you cut down a tree, I don't care about the tree spirit. I'm not that kind of hippie, but understanding that when you cut down a tree, there were baby birds and squirrels living in that tree.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe even a baby weasel, So
yeah, it's entirely possible there was a weasel family. Could have made 100 brushes, and you cut down that tree for your one synthetic brush.
Yeah. And that's not to minimize the concerns of folks who don't like natural hair, but like there's a trade-off to everything. And we live in a terrible world, so
everything, like there's no way around it, unfortunately. It just
and most of the people in the comments were respectful on all sides of that issue. There's one person that said they were disappointed in me for not being vegan, and like I'll say this, like if you're vegan, I congratulate you. That's actually kind of awesome. If you have the willpower and ingenuity to be able to do that, that's awesome. If you share your vegan banana bread or zucchini bread with others, that's awesome too. Try and be like, hey, it's not all bad. Try zucchini bread out. It's pretty good. But if you are yelling at people for not being vegan the way you are, you might want to work on your persuasion skills. I don't know. It's not the way to do it.
Kind of crossing the line a little bit. Yeah. Like we can live together. It's okay.
All right, I've got cat hair all over these. I've got natural cat hair all over my synthetic
Even
bristles.
better.
Right? Yeah, we got a lot.
I mean, I'm
of
looking at
cleaning
your
to do.
your cat tails are popping up in the screen. And I see that tail going to that rounded point. You gotta wonder. You shave a cat.
That was the other comment I got a million of in that video. It's just like,
makes sense.
Make some cat hair bristles. Like
You could try.
Could try.
I mean, like you could try.
Probably, do some sponging, chipping damage, with some cat hair bristles.
Yeah. There you go.
Nothing too fancy.
Right.
But you let me know how those wolf hair brushes go. I'm curious.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely be updating on that as soon as those come in.
It's a more ethical but much more dangerous kind of brush. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, all their branding is like, we're wolf brushes. Yeah. Like wolves are not weasels. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Hell, you got us there. Yeah.
Yeah. Although the brush set, I think it was like 5 or 6 brushes, was like $45.
Okay.
So it was decently priced too, which is another reason that I bought into them. And actually the dry brushes that I got are these like artist something or other ones on Amazon for like $28 or something.
Ooh.
It's a pretty sweet set. And I've only used the like smallest one so far because I had to do a little bit of dry brushing on something, and I didn't want to get it on other stuff, and it was like, okay, that makes sense. And it worked just fine. Comes with a brush cleaner, which I used and it worked great, and a little tappy sponge thing for your dry brushes. That's the
whole deal.
Way to dry brush. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool for the price. Still got to use the rest of them.
Yeah, let us know how it goes.
Yes.
You keep us updated on that. I'll keep you updated on my stinky box of models, and we'll get to the bottom of all this. All right, what else you got going on, Casey?
Let's see here. I've been painting an old metal mini, the old Commissar Yarrick from the 40K universe. I think most people. I was kind of thinking about it. Like I was doing some research to kind of like put together, some of the story for the video and the model and all this stuff. And I was thinking about it. This is kind of like one of the more famous-y stories and characters in all of Warhammer. It's like one story that I actually did know, because I don't follow any of the lore or read anything.
No.
But I knew that one. I thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, I'm trying to like take my time with him, paint him all old school, and that's been pretty funny. He came in a pretty nasty situation, so yeah. Going good though.
Hey, the nastier he starts, the more you can rescue him. And the more he needs rescuing, the better the feeling. And the better the thumbnail. Yeah.
It's the thumbnail that pops out of my head first. I see the model and I'm like, I have to buy this. And I almost don't care what price it is. Like I didn't get a great deal on this particular model either. I think I paid like $30 for it. And I mean I already have one too. That's the dumb thing. Like I have a brand new one.
Yeah, but this one looks
but I'm
so
like,
bad.
no, this is too good.
Yeah.
It's too good. I had to buy it.
Uh-huh.
I've done that a couple times now, and like only in one case so far have I been like, oh, I can't actually use this model like for a video. It's kind of too good.
Oh, sure,
Like-
sure.
Like I got it and I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah.
Like it would be mean if
and
I
you strip it and
repainted
repaint
this.
it, and it's like just kind of a side grade, like a
Yeah,
kind of
it's
like
like
personal
there's-
preference, whether you liked the first one or the second one better. Yeah,
Yeah.
that ain't great.
And that's the thing that I hate the most is when somebody's like, oh, I like the way it was painted before you got it.
Whoops.
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, it's mine now. So, I did buy pretty funky Chaos Knight that somebody had tried to convert into like some orc vehicle.
Okay.
And that's gonna be a good one.
That sounds like
that's
a-
gonna be
yeah.
interesting. They slapped a bunch of stuff on it and then like put this like caged thing on top with an orc sitting in the seat. And yeah, I think that's gonna be my my big Orktober project this year.
Well, happy
Already
October to
getting
you.
ready.
Yeah.
It's coming up. man. I can't wait.
Yeah. I've got some Wadroon that I've been working on.
Yeah.
Been working on my color schemes for my Wadroon. Yeah, we mentioned the Brontosaurus, but I've got to get the crew for the Brontosaurus, and I've got to paint up all their foot troops to walk around and give it some context and look sweet.
Yeah.
But these are...
Otherwise, it's just a brontosaur.
I'm referring, of course, to the Conquest faction of the Wadroon with... it's got a lot of symbols. Like, there's like an apostrophe in the word Wadroon. There's... I don't even know what it's called, like an umlaut. I don't think it is an umlaut, but it's like one...
The umlaut is the dot over the two dots over the
Okay,
U.
well, we have like a tiny U over one of the other vowels. Like,
I have no
yeah.
idea.
They don't teach us these things, and I haven't bothered to look, so...
I mean,
Yeah.
I distinctly remember in like 4th grade,
Yeah.
it was 4th grade,
Yeah,
being taught those
okay,
and immediately forgetting.
right.
Even though like pronunciation is in the dictionary next to the word, like
Yeah,
that way.
yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
Look,
Sounds good. Wadroon.
I like what Parabellum is doing over there with Conquest, but they've got too many hyphens in their names, too many underscores, they've got too many apostrophes in their names, and symbols that I cannot type with an American keyboard. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I've got my 104 key keyboard here, and I don't know how to make the symbol that comes up halfway through the word Wadroon.
There is a way to do it too.
I'm sure there is, Casey. I'm sure there is.
I know there is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to just
Yeah.
undercut
And
you
as
a
soon as
bit,
you
that's
crack
all.
that code, you'll be able to find the secret stash of eBay listings selling nasty
mean-
old Wadroon.
Yeah. Actually, it's interesting. Because I do get Conquest updates pretty often. It's pretty much every day at this point.
Okay.
The listings have gone up quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, like people are starting to carry it. I'm seeing at least one major used online store, Lazarus Games, is carrying new and used Conquest minis. So it's getting out there. Like the used market is actually growing, and I've almost bought some stuff now a few times. I've gotten real close. Most of the sales are still for like kind of the early models that are a little janky anyways, like not the ones I actually want. But they're there. And people are trying to get rid of their armies, and that's mostly what it is. I'm noticing it's like, oh, I have like $600 in stuff, so I just want to get my money back or something close.
Well, you keep searching.
But things are
You'll
looking
get
up.
your deals. And those old janky models for a rescue, not the worst idea. Like, Commissar Yarrick's pretty janky. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're telling me.
His face is it's a little funky. Man, I had like a hard time painting his face too. Like it's like he's got a collar, like a popped collar that goes up to kind of each side of his mouth.
Oh, sure. So you gotta kind of get in
the brim of his hat that's right down to his forehead. So you have this kind of T in the middle that you're trying to paint in, and it's indented. Obviously, it's 3D, right?
Yep.
So yeah, trying to get in there, it was a huge pain. So it was an interesting model. It took way longer than I wanted it to. I'm still not technically done too. I just painted the base green because the original one was like a goblin green base, you know? So I'm trying to keep that same feel, but on a newer, like, Elric's Hobby, like resin base. It looks pretty cool.
Hey, there you go.
So yeah, it looks neat. But still got to get that goblin green. Actually, somebody just emailed me the other day too, and they're sending me an OG original bottle of goblin green that they bought in England in the early 90s, and it's still good.
My God.
Yeah, so it should be here any day. Super excited for that. Yeah.
All right. I've got something for you.
All right.
I bought and recently received in the mail a model I'm very excited for. It is the entire reason I bought into this game line here. So this is Star Trek Away Missions from Gale Force 9. And they have a Romulan kit with 5 minis. They have a Klingon kit with 4. And then their starter kit is, I think, 7 Borg minis against 4 Federation minis. So it's a total of 3 boxes. There's a company called Sinclair Games that was having a sale already on them. So I bought it was like, I don't know, 15% sale or something like that. It was...
Okay, that's pretty
standard. It might have been a standard sale. I don't think it immediately died. But I think these are from either 2022 or maybe even 2023. But anyway, the Klingon model that caught my eye, so to say, was Gowron, Chancellor Gowron, who is... who many a meme has been made out of our buddy Chancellor Gowron, but he's the Klingon with like the big bulging eyes. He just has all these great looks at the camera and stuff. And I'm so excited to paint those eyes. Yeah, I'm so excited. Anyway, the minis themselves, I think they're PVC, but they might be CO cast. I can't tell. I don't have an ATR spectrometer handy. If I did, I'd get right to the bottom of that real quick. But
I mean, if you checked under your microscope,
nope, that's not going to do it, Casey. It's not going to do it.
If you see the mold lines, or not mold lines, but if you see the 3D print lines, then it's more likely that they were CO cast because they usually cast from 3D prints. Like they'll still put it into it's part of their stuff. So
yeah, sure, fair. Yeah. Well, okay, we might be able to get to the bottom of it that way. You might be right. But anyway, they're not polystyrene. They have a little bit of flex to them, and they come, when you buy them, they come attached to their base, like pre-assembled, attached to their base. I don't think they're a lot of pieces anyway. They're probably just one piece plus the base, most of them. They are a little bit larger than a normal playing size mini, so they're, I don't know, maybe they're 40 millimeter scale or something like that, but they're a nice paintable size. I'm excited for them. But yeah, they also do a thing which I haven't seen a lot before, of the character name is sculpted onto the base. So the minis come pre-attached to a base, and kind of behind their feet, like on the back side of the mini and facing the player who'd be playing with them, is the name of the character. So like it says Gowron, kind of by the heels of the Gowron figure. And I was going through and like, oh man, what are all these characters? And there's, I kind of recognized the name of a couple of Klingons and a couple of the Romulans. and I was looking at the Borg, and the Borgs are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm like, oh, is this going to be 7? And no, it's Locutus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Locutus. Because I think they are kind of setting this in the immediate aftermath of the Battle of Wolf 359. Oh no, I'm gonna get crucified if I get that wrong. Right. Wolf 359. It's pretty close. Not only is it Star Trek lore, but it's actually a star kind of close to us that you should like.
That's an actual
other brands of nerd would know. But anyway, okay, so. Then the part that that really tickled me is I was starting to go through the Federation side. So there are 4 Federation characters. You want to take a guess of who they are, Casey?
4 Federation characters.
So it's TNG, and it's aftermath of the Battle of Wolf 359.
Okay. So not Picard, obviously.
Okay, correct.
So
not Picard.
In the aftermath of that. See, now I feel like I'm being put on the spot.
Sorry.
Probably Riker.
Yep.
Probably I would guess Worf, but then I'm kind of second guessing.
Yes. Kind of surprising. There's only 4 Federation characters, and one of them is a Klingon, and they already have another Klingon pack.
Right, and they have. That's why I would almost have not said that too. Yeah. Oh, you kind of gave me that one. That's fine. I almost second guessed myself. I'm gonna go with Dr. Crusher.
No.
Interesting. All right, so you gotta have Data and Geordi.
There is Data. Geordi is not one of them. So there's a 4th one, which it tickled the heck out of me because I was like, who is this gonna be? So
it's not Wesley Crusher.
No, it's not. It is a female character.
It's not Tasha Yar.
I thought it might be, but I like when I
can't
no,
be.
Exactly. Okay. We're getting deep into Star Trek, but Tasha Yar stopped being a character. Season 1, I'm pretty sure. Battle of Wolf 359 is Best of Both Worlds, which is I think the end of season 3, beginning of season 4, I think. Or
sounds right.
Yeah. Anyway. And plus
we're getting deep right now.
Plus the Romulan kit, Sela is the name of the Romulan in the Romulan kit, which is the like cloned Tasha Yar daughter or something.
Right. Yeah.
So
okay, so
she's covered.
Not in there.
She's
I
covered.
can see that now.
They
had they're like, yeah, we shouldn't have fired you.
Right.
You want to come back for just a little bit?
I think she quit.
I think she did, actually. I can't remember. She quit and yeah, whatever.
Anyway,
doesn't matter.
Anyway, the 4th character from the Starfleet side, I was like, all right, who is this? It's a woman. I don't like. It doesn't look like Troy. Doesn't look like Crusher. Like, I don't think it's Yar. It can't be Yar. Like, longer hair than Yar. Who is this? And the back of the character, it says Shelby, and Shelby's like the special guest star in the Best of Both Worlds. She's the
why
she's like
is she
the
now
exchange,
immortalized in a set.
She's like the extra officer on board that butts head with Riker. Like she's right, like Riker's competition in that one episode.
Right, because he's good. Okay,
and
yeah.
There's no Geordi, no Troy, no Crusher, no Wesley. It's just Shelby, which I thought was great. I picked it up. I'm like, wonderful. They're really
so somebody's just
they
like,
are really committing to the Best of the Both Worlds. Set. And maybe I need to go rewatch that episode, because I know there's a scene where they beam over to the Borg cube and they're walking around, and maybe those are the 4 who beam over them.
I mean, yeah, probably, because she would be like the first officer taking place, and Riker would be the acting captain, so she would go.
Yeah.
So that does make a lot of sense, but like, if you're gonna make a game,
I don't know. So
I feel like just throw in somebody else. Like, it's fine. Like, we get it.
It was great. It was like I looked at Shelby. The 4th bridge crew is Shelby. Like, All right, it's
Just be like,
stupid, but I
whoa,
can't be
wait.
mad. I'm so tickled. Like it.
It's pretty good. Oh man.
So maybe that means they're saving some of the others. Maybe they expect to make another Federation expansion and get Geordie, Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Crusher.
you're gonna, so is it like a board game or is it skirmish game?
It seems to be somewhere between the two. I think.
Okay,
I think
so
it
it's
might
on
be
like a
hex
grid
based or
or
something.
something.
I haven't
Yeah.
haven't gotten to the paper material in the bottom of the boxes. I was just looking at the figures. I don't
Like
care
you
about
will.
that. Like,
You're just like Gowron. I'm in. I want those eyes.
Yeah. No, I was mostly in it for Gowron. I'm amazed that I even opened up the Federation side of things to see what was in there. But no, they're not polystyrene minis or anything. But like, I wasn't seeing a lot of mold lines. Like, you know, they're fairly simple sculpts, but like they were clean.
Yeah,
they were kind of big, interesting poses, clean. Yeah, as far as that goes, not bad.
I'm definitely interested in the actual game now. I mean, it's hard to find good, like, you know, licensed miniatures, right? Sure. For a long time, I think the closest Star Trek game miniatures that we had were WizKids made HeroClix for Star Wars. And it was kind of the same thing. Like on a grid, they all had different things they could do, and you, I don't know, you'd kill each other, I guess. Like, you're the Borg, you're the Federation, whatever. I never played it, but I played HeroClix, so I assume it's basically the same thing. But yeah, they're janky. Like real bad, like 25 mil, so everything's tiny. It might even be smaller than that, like actual scale wise. I don't know, but yeah, it's like pre-painted and just not the best.
Yep.
So yeah, having blank 40 mil miniatures sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Although having a random fourth crew member figure seems a bit of an odd choice.
I think it's great. These. I think it's great. That's just the like, yeah, we are setting this in this two-part episode. Like this thing, is
like we know what
just
we're doing.
Firmly establishing the timeline. I don't know. That just tickled me. I love it.
I mean, they do go through a lot of stuff in those two episodes, right? Like you get the admirals coming in, you get like the Klingons, the Romulans, you get a lot of people, different characters on screen. So I suppose if you're going to pull from something, it's like, well, here's everybody all at the same time.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know, that leaves them open for selling a Federation pack with the rest of the bridge crew, and like a Song of Ice and Fire, that's not skirmish game, that's a rank and flank game, but a Song of Ice and Fire game has, you know, all the characters from the movies, but they have Stark Characters 1 and then Stark Characters 2, and so I can't remember exactly how it's divided up, but one of those boxes has Ned Stark, Jon Snow, Robb Stark, Caitlin, and the other box is like, here's Bran and Rickon.
Yeah.
Bran, Rickon, and Shaggy Dog. Enjoy.
Like, oh.
Same price as the other box. Have fun.
Right. Man.
So you can't give them all the good stuff in the first box. You gotta save a little juice for the expansion. You gotta. Geordie LaForge is a big seller. You save him for later.
Yeah. Exactly. That reminds me of so the only Kickstarter I ever backed that ended up getting pulled down and I couldn't get was a doorstop with a 3D printed Hodor on the end. And they pulled it for copyright infringement off of Kickstarter after it massively like did well, right? It did great.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
Like, I feel robbed. You know what I mean? I feel so robbed.
Matt's gonna have to put a little bumper on the front of this episode. The spoilers for like season 5, season 6 of Game of Thrones. Yeah.
I think we're past that, but
spoilers for Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yeah. There's no Picard in this set, but there is Locutus. Yes.
He's in there somewhere. That's what we'll say.
Yeah. Oh, he's in there.
Locutus.
He's in there.
Yeah, he's in there.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You gotta have a Federation box that has Picard too. Yeah. They'll have Picard, Geordi, maybe Wesley, but Picard, Geordi, Troy.
You gotta have a throwaway
and Crusher.
Mission,
Or maybe, they start filling it out with like Dr. Pulaski just to make sure that they can get like a third Federation box going later on. Yeah. Just leave room.
you get Reggie in there. That's when we know.
Wait, which one's Reggie?
The weird dude that
Barclay
likes. Yeah, Reginald Barclay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're thinking of the same guy. All right, we got there.
Yeah.
You call him Reggie?
On first name basis. You know what I'm saying?
Barclay did have a friend after all. Okay.
He was the one I identified.
Yeah. You get Spot the cat, Barclay. That's the third box of the Federation characters. Yeah.
Yeah, the cat. Him.
We got to get Thomas Riker. We got to get Lore. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good box. Actually, yeah. Lore and Thomas Riker together at last. Like
they call it good twin, bad twin. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thomas Riker still gets me, man. That still haunts my dreams. Like
it's
the whole idea of a transporter. It still haunts me, man. Like, it's just.
Well, it's the whole thing of like, yeah, sure, you're gonna destroy and rearrange and save from memory.
Yeah, the person who pops up is just a new person.
Out.
Every time you transport, it's a new person. Yeah.
Yeah, you die.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah. That's just a copy. The new person thinks you're the old person, but Thomas really was.
Right, you wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, Thomas, right.
Yeah, exactly. You'd think that in the face of that type of conundrum, they'd be like, dude, we maybe should go back to shuttles. Not do this anymore.
Oh, for sure. Like, these super smart people on the spaceship would figure this out. Like, oh, I am just killing myself every time I transport. Yeah, I'm gonna shuttles from now on. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Ooh. This is gonna be the
getting pretty deep into Star Trek here.
Yeah, I know. Miniatures. At least it's on track.
Yeah, we're talking about minis. We're on track. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but that Gowron, man. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have so much fun with the eyes. Like, that is the perfect character for just big bug eyes that are all asymmetrical, and I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited.
That's the huge eyes. So good.
Just pull out a size 8 paintbrush and just go to town on Gowron's eyes. Yeah.
On the back of his base, like the 2 O's in Gowron, just make those eyes too. Yeah.
Now you're thinking.
Humongous eyeballs on
now
the back.
You're thinking.
Oh man.
What else? I went to an actual art store this week. So
yeah.
Sometimes when I talk about going to the arts and crafts store, I'm talking about Michael's Arts and Crafts Store. Never going there again. You know what? Screw that place. I found an actual art store in my area, and the prices are at least comparable to Michael's, probably cheaper.
Yeah, I usually find them to be about the same, at least where I'm at. Yeah.
And it seems to be an independent place, and it has a lot of stuff that we use in this hobby. Pigments, oil paints, a wide variety of paintbrushes, like the whole line of golden so flat paints. I just walked into this place. I think it's called Arts and Craftsmen or something like that. Anyway, if you're in the Portland, Maine area, look it up. Arts and Craftsmen.
Yeah,
it's
my friend Brent there.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah,
there'll be Brent walking around, wide-eyed, giant smile on his face, just amazed that he hasn't been in this store before, like shocked at what he's been missing out on. But, there's nothing new. Mini painting is nothing new. Art folks have figured all this stuff out hundreds of years before. Even slap chop, apparently, they figured out before we got to it. But,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, all that stuff's been done.
It's all been done. And
non-metallic metal was the only metal.
back in my day, yeah.
Yeah. It's the only way to do it. Now it's like, fancy options here.
Yeah. Wow. But yeah, I went to a real art store. It's like, oh, here's Winsor Newton brush cleaner and Mona Lisa brush cleaner and pink brush soap and Masters brush soap. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Anything you want in here. Any art supply that shows up in various chat rooms and Reddit posts and YouTube channels stuff. Like, yeah, it's just start the art store. Go to the art store. There. I don't know. I don't have anything more to say about that. Just go to the art store. Look it up. You got one in your area. Try it out.
Probably, yeah. I'd say most places probably do. Yeah. At least one like main art store. Yeah, I know we've got a couple because we've got several colleges around here, and there's a lot of art.
There you go.
Yeah, like I used to frequent the local art store because I've taken a lot of like art classes in college and stuff. So yeah, having to like, you get your sheet and your syllabus and all your stuff, and it's like you have to go to the art store. They're the only place that carries this, and it's expensive, just like your textbooks, which were also expensive. So yeah, it was definitely a thing every semester, making the trip, just like buying books and shelling out a few $100 for art supplies.
Mm-hmm.
I still have most of them though, which is nice.
There you go.
Like yeah, some of the teachers were like, no, get this one because it won't go bad. Like, yes, it's $10 more, but you're still going to have it for a long time. I still have paints from, whatever. I don't even know how old I am anymore, 10, 15 years ago. Yeah, a minute ago. Yeah, and I still pull out, we still have the same box that we pull out, and it has like all the nice, good stuff in it. So, yeah, I mean, actual art supplies are like worth it. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. Anyway, the store also had a lot of brushes that were labeled as synthetic sable. So the store had a lot of options for, I don't know, quote, more advanced synthetic brushes.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know, there's still like $5 or $10 for some of those brushes, but I kind of want to buy a couple and cut all the bristles off and put them onto microscope plates and see what they look like. Yeah.
See what they look like. I mean, synthetic, natural hair, right? Are they saying that it's a mix, or are they saying that it's like, no, we synthetically mimic
the second one?
These types of hair.
So
okay.
That's another thing I want to learn more about. There are some brushes that are both natural and synthetic in a single brush. And one of the ones from Games Workshop, the middle tier of brushes from Games Workshop.
Oh yeah, it was like a weird
mix. It supposedly is a combination of both synthetic and natural hair. And the one that I happened to get from my local Games Workshop, that was like the worst brush I looked at in the entire survey.
Like, chunk on the side of it.
And so I think I actually will just take that brush that I do not care about because it looks awful. Yeah. I think I'm going to take that brush and just cut off all the hairs, put them on a slide, and see if I can separate. Okay, that's synthetic, that's natural, that's synthetic, that's natural.
Right.
Try to get an idea. Okay, so they just mixed them? Like what's anyway.
I mean, it's an interesting concept. Yeah. If you have like longer hairs that go around like a synthetic belly, right? Then you have a nice point at pretty much all times on the tip of your brush, and then the rest of it that's filling out the girth is synthetic, so you're not using nearly as much of the hairs. The cost is down. I don't know. It still works.
I don't know if they're positioned at a certain place radially in the brush head, or if it's just all mixed in there. But I am curious about that, and I'm also curious about what they call, or what like Princeton Art Supply calls synthetic sable, which the way they're marketing it is a synthetic bristle that is supposed to mimic the qualities of natural hair sable.
I mean, I kind of feel like at this point that if it did, we would have heard about it.
Oh, sure. No, I suspect that it does not do a great job at mimicking natural hair, but
and you're gonna tank their like half and half division.
Yeah.
You make a video about it, hard hitting, like Princeton's a liar.
No, I don't want to do that, but like, I do need to also figure out some better experiments for testing brushes, because now I'm interested, now I'm invested. I would love to do some tests of, here's a brush after 10 hours of use, here's a brush after 20 hours of use. But the trick of applying 10 or 20 hours of use to a brush is either not very scientific, or it's very, very boring. So,
I have a solution for you. I do. I just thought
okay.
of it just
Let's
now.
go.
So my kid's been watching a lot of Lego videos,
Children.
right?
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
But Lego makes these little like motor things, right? You could put a brush in one of those things, because it like could either go around, or it could dip in and out of something, or just continually do a thing, right? Like repetitive motion. You could definitely build something with Lego motors that would do that and be on for like the life of a AA battery or whatever. Just saying.
Okay, I'm curious. I've seen those videos where people use Legos to make sandwiches or tacos or whatever.
Right.
And it looks pretty cool. So, okay, if we were to automate this process, I'd want to get a machine that dips a paintbrush in paint, moves it across a surface. Maybe it moves it back and forth across a surface. I mean, that's negotiable. And in a lot of ways, that's the easiest part. You can just, put a paintbrush in a power drill and do something there.
Yeah.
Or I definitely have seen like the conveyor belt Lego sort of stuff, and it would be easy to just attach that to a conveyor belt that goes in a circle and
hit some paint, paint some stuff on, hit some water. I don't know,
yeah. So
yeah.
I think the harder trick is the washing step. Like a realistic use of a paintbrush is rinsing it out every minute or two. Yeah,
because you're not going to get that buildup. Of paint. Also loading it properly.
Yeah, getting a proper loading, a realistic use. And I think kind of a realistic dragging across like a flat piece of terrain, or like a dragging across a cobblestone texture or something would be fine.
Right. That's interesting, because I mean, I suppose it does depend. Because like the way that like I use natural hair brushes is like with a pretty light touch. You know, I'm not, and I don't push on the bristles. I only usually pull.
Yeah, sure.
It's always pulling, so it's always pulling to a point. It's always there, right?
Yep.
Like it is a purposeful kind of thing, and you don't necessarily care as much with a synthetic brush. You just kind of like get it in there, you know. You want to paint the thing, so I don't know. Like I treat the brushes differently. So yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to replicate.
But you're right. If anyone could do it, it would be one of these Lego geniuses who would make weird little factories out of Legos. Right on.
Yeah. Sounds like a good time for a collaboration. Just make me a Lego contraption.
In that amount of time, though, I could just watch all of Star Trek: The Next Generation while like brushing.
That's not a bad idea, honestly. Like if you're gonna do it, like maybe. You know, there's it's probably time. I think we've screwed up enough of the names and dates and places that it's time for a rewatch. It's been a minute for me.
Looking at the back of my Star Trek Away Missions Commander Sella Romulan expansion here. Sella leads a crack team of infiltrators into the wreckage from the Battle of Wolf 359. I got it.
Yeah. You were right. Yeah,
you got it.
I confirmed that earlier. I looked it up on the internet.
Yeah. Between the two of us, we got Reginald Barclay's name correct.
That's pretty good. I did check that too. That's definitely his name. It's because Jordy calls him Reggie.
Okay.
Like, he does. He calls him like Reg or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Well,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of stuff up in our brains, and we're just trying to put a little more useful stuff up there. That's all. Yeah.
Also, just that's how it is.
But I would love to figure out a scientific, repeatable way to put 10 hours of use on a paintbrush. I would love to do that.
I mean, there's got to be something that other than like a robot arm. It's got to be a way. I mean, like a 10-hour thing wouldn't be too bad.
It's doable, but the expectation of an experiment is that I would be doing this to multiple brushes and like
Okay,
experimental,
so
experimental groups,
them, yeah.
possibly some repetition. And I have thought of like, okay, I can make myself like a little device that holds like 4 paintbrushes at the same time.
Sure.
And
so and you
just like 4 of them in a row or whatever.
Wash.
Yeah. Have a chip clip to hold 4 paintbrushes at the same time, and do the rinsing and do the painting with them. But even then, like that's one experimental group or
right. Yeah. No, there'd have to be a good way to do it, and it would have to be automated. I don't think you could be that consistent with like a multiple clipped set of brushes. You'd have to do it one at a time to make sure it was done properly every time.
Agreed.
And that would take you years.
Agreed. Maybe I'll change my Twitch stream into just that business.
Just testing brushes. Yeah, testing paint brushes 8 straight hours. Like just
yep. That's right. Mark the category of my stream as Warhammer, and it's just me testing paintbrushes for 8 straight hours.
Loading, painting, and rinsing brushes. Yeah, I can see that.
See how many viewers we can get. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, you call it like a brush marathon. You could actually paint models too. You get a model, print out like 10 of the same model, and you just paint like. You got 10 brushes, you paint the same piece with that brush, then you move on to the next one. Paint the same piece with that brush. And then you got 10 models, 10 brushes, all done properly in the same session. I don't think there'd be noticeable wear on any of them. But,
I think that's a possibility. Yeah. Like if I got into doing like a bit of army painting or something, and I'm like, okay, I am multitasking with, I'm also keeping a little notebook of how much wear and tear I'm putting on each one of these brushes. I think that is a realistic possibility that would not be completely bonkers insane.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it also depends on what you're looking for. What is the, because I get like doing a 10-hour thing, but I mean, man, like if your brush isn't great, you're already not having a good time 20 minutes into it.
Sure.
So it's like, if this is the only brush that you buy, or it's the only brush that you have, if you're like, okay, I'm going to paint this part of the model, and then I'm going to clean this out, and I'm going to paint the next part of the model, like, is that brush going to last you for an entire session? Like a Winsor Newton size 1, you can paint a whole model with that.
Oh, yeah.
You can base coat, highlight, and detail with one brush, and it should last you.
Yep.
It absolutely should. Like a Games Workshop, like a small brush, not for a second will that tip be good for you.
Not that one. No.
No. So, I mean, like seeing how long you could go for until it failed. Yeah.
Yep. That is a reasonable thing to do. Like, just find a way to work that into my actual painting experience. Like, find a way to multitask. I'm going to be painting with some paintbrushes anyway on this model. Let's 2 birds, 1 stone sort of thing.
Yeah. Because then you'd have like an hour count on that brush and go, oh, it was 5.5 hours, and I can't get the tip to stay, and it just isn't working the way it should work.
Yep.
Oh, this one went 2 hours, and I threw it in the fucking trash.
Yeah.
Like
another thing I want to look into is the fear people have with metallic paints. Like I see all over the place, don't use metallic paints on your natural hair brushes because the mica dust or the ground up aluminum or whatever it is more abrasive, it's harsher on the bristles, and I would love to figure out an experiment that visualizes that. Like if it is possible to see like the abrasions on the bristles as a result of using metallic paint.
Right, like little nicks and cuts.
Yeah.
You got up there pretty close. You should be able to see that.
With this microscope, it's probably right on the line of being able to see that. But that's the sort of thing. I'd like take a paintbrush, a new synthetic paintbrush, or no, sorry, new. Well, probably have to do one of each for the comparison. But,
yeah, you would, yeah.
But a new natural hair brush, put 10 hours of use on it with a metallic paint, get the microscopy of some of those bristles, and be like, what are you worried about? Like there's all kinds of little fears that float around in the hobby, and one of them that I'm curious about. I'm skeptical. I don't know. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's skeptical enough that I might put in 10 hours for this experiment to see if that's worth 10 hours. If metallic paint really is gonna
yeah,
for sure.
The other big one is don't use contrast or speed paints in natural hair brushes.
So I think that is just the flow improver causes the paint to go way up the bristles, capillary action right up into the ferrule. It dries there, and I think that's not don't use it with natural hair brushes so much as don't use it with expensive brushes that you care about.
Okay.
So my understanding of that is, it's going to ruin any brush, any liquidy wash that has a lot of flow improver in it that just capillary actions right up the bristles into the ferrule and dries there.
It definitely does.
Yeah. I think that recommendation is just don't use a brush that you care about or that costs $15 to replace. Yeah.
$28. Yeah.
I was nice. Like
Yeah, you were pretty nice about it. I mean, look, I just bought a Winsor Newton brush for $24. I got them here in the mail. So, it is what it is. And I'm very excited to use it and continue to use it for the next year without issue.
I hope so. That's
generally how it goes. Although, of course, I already bought it, and then I'm like, oh man, like looking at the microscope stuff, going like, some of these are kind of jacked up. Like, I wish I could look at this before I buy it.
Yeah.
I haven't had any issues with any Amazon Winsor Newton brushes. They're packaged. The way that the brushes are actually packaged is done very well. I mean, they have the protective little plastic cover on them, but then they're in a plastic tube as well. Yep.
No, that's the same with the one I bought, and I think Winsor Newton actually has an Amazon store, and I think that's where we probably both got from the same store if we both paid $24.
Probably,
but that's a real thing that it is nice to be able to actually look at the bristles of the brush you're buying when you buy it.
Mm-hmm. Is it worth $4 plus gas?
Well, I mean, in the case you're talking about the Artificer brush, if you're going to go to the Games Workshop store to buy an Artificer brush, it's still in that same tube. It has the little protector over the bristles, and it's in that same plastic tube. So, like, you can't really get a good look at it in the store, even.
I would think you could take it off, but maybe they'd yell at you.
Yeah, maybe with, Connor was your guy? Who did you get? Mason?
Yeah, Mason. Hey, look at you, remember his name.
I try to remember people, like if the people who intersect my life, I meet a lot of people, but I try to remember something about everyone. And
that's good. Yeah. It's very good. I'm terrible at that.
Oh, no, it doesn't mean I succeed very often, but right. You seem to like your shop guy. I'm going to try to like him too. Okay.
It's a good call. He's a good dude. I'll take you to meet him next time you're over.
Right on. Right on.
Although I'm gonna say right now, $100 says he doesn't know your name.
Fine. Fine.
Just because it would be too good if he didn't. It'd be too good.
Oh.
He's like, oh hi.
Well, now you're just splitting $50 with him, aren't you? Like you.
Yeah, there you go. That's fair. Okay.
Thanks, Mason. Here's your 50. Like, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Always good doing business. Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to Nevada. That's how it goes. I don't know that I have any other hobby stuff. I think I've gone over most of the hobby stuff that I've done.
Okay. Well, I got a quick one then. For anyone who does like watching Twitch streams, that Twitch is annoying for several reasons. One of them is that there are no good categories for miniature painting. So if you're a viewer looking for mini painters on Twitch, you need to troll the Warhammer category, the art category, the makers and crafting category, sometimes the just chatting category, sometimes D&D, looking for mini painters.
Sure.
And
so there's a Warhammer specific category.
There is a Warhammer category, but that could be somebody reading a rule book, somebody playing a game, somebody talking about lore, somebody painting minis, and that does seem to be the best category for mini painting right now. Like, last stream I was painting Conquest, Wadroon Orcs, and I labeled it as a
Warhammer.
I labeled it as a Warhammer stream.
Could get bad, yeah.
And I didn't feel great about it, but there is a movement within the Twitch mini painters to create to ask Twitch to create a category called miniatures, so that it is easy to find people who are working on miniatures. And so if you're at all interested in this, Twitch has like a user feedback form that I've created a little not a poll on, what was it called? Petition, that's the word.
Petition.
Yeah, kind of created a petition to make either a mini painting category on Twitch or a miniatures category on Twitch. So if you're bored, you can go check that out and give it a little thumbs up and say, yeah, I'd like to see a miniatures category on Twitch. And we've already got a lot of the streamers commenting there, like, yeah, this is important and necessary. And
I'd say so. I mean, a lot of people paint on Twitch.
Yeah.
Like that feels like a thing that should definitely be there.
Yeah.
I mean, not that like YouTube has any separation of any of that stuff, but like there's a good amount of miniature painting on YouTube.
Yep.
And
yeah,
why not on Twitch?
Well, the way Twitch currently organizes like discoverability and finding people you might be interested in, there's a little bar on the left-hand side of the Twitch homepage that has the name of the streamer and under them the category they're streaming in. So on my page, I've spent enough time on my Twitch account that it's like so-and-so in the art category you might be interested in, so-and-so in the Warhammer category you might be interested in. And then you can go and watch 30 seconds of pre-roll ad to see if they're actually doing something you're interested in. But I would love for it to be a miniatures category instead, so that at least when you start in on that 30 seconds of pre-roll ad, you're pretty sure that you're going to get somebody painting a mini.
You're going to get something. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense.
When I watch 30 seconds of advertisement and it's someone complaining about the toughness of Tau, and that makes me unhappy. But damn it. Not again.
Sit through another.
Yeah, let's try again here. So on the video game side of Twitch, there are so many categories. Like I was looking at it today, and there's so many categories with like one person streaming to a viewership of one. And I saw one, Jackie Chan's Kung Fu Adventure, and I was just like, oh my god, there's one concurrent viewer for Jackie Chan's Kung Fu Adventure, and
Somebody's having a good day. They're just like, I can't believe it. It's my favorite game.
Yeah, finally somebody's streaming it, and that's its own
Finally.
category. Like you can see, like, yeah, Jim Bob over here is playing Jackie Chan's Kung Fu Adventure, and it's not.
I'm
it's
gonna
not,
go out on a limb here and say that if they can create a category for that, then there's no need for a freaking petition for miniature painting to be its own category. That's the dumbest crap I've ever
It's
heard.
really dumb. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. I don't know.
But
I don't know what other levers there are left
like,
for me to pull other than
yeah.
I am using all means at my disposal to try to address this, and I don't know. I get bees in my bonnets about these sorts of things, and I go off on,
that's fair.
on mini little Goobertown crusades. But this is what we're doing today. This is
the Goobertown crusades.
Join me on the Goobertown crusade. We're gonna try to get a miniatures category added on Twitch, because Twitch has a category for Car Mechanic Simulator 2023.
There you go.
You can
if you can even say that there's a category like that, then there's no reason that somebody can't type it in. Like there's not a drop box in their back end that goes create new category. You know what I mean?
Somebody, there is an employee at Twitch who can make this change in 5 minutes, plus whatever time it makes them to cobble together the like homepage art, like the thumbnail art of what is miniatures. Which we can do for them. Like, let me know if I can help. I'll be happy to help.
Right,
get you a picture of like some kobolds or whatever.
No big deal. Yeah.
Whip you up some kobolds and PowerPoint real quick.
Exactly.
Throw a paintbrush in there. You get the idea. Maybe a little bottle of paint. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, I think it's Twitch user voices. Just do a search for Twitch user voices miniatures, and you should see a petition from me. And if this is something you care about, go ahead and upvote it and leave a little comment that, of course, miniatures should be a category, because there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of concurrent viewers for that subject. There is a strong Twitch community of streamers who do miniatures. Like if you were to ask them what it is they're doing, they are miniature sculpting or miniature painting, and having to stream in the art category doesn't help anybody. Having to stream in the Warhammer category doesn't help anybody, especially not if you're painting Gowron. Like Gowron is not Warhammer, but if I were to pick a stream title for me painting Gowron, that's the closest available option right now. So,
yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, and at least you have a good percentage of a chance that if you clicked on a Warhammer centric video, that it's probably miniature painting.
Right.
Like
it's a pretty good chance.
Lore and rules and whatever, but there's a chance.
Yeah.
Clicking on an art video, who knows? Yeah. Well, hopefully they can fix that, because that's stupid.
Yep. That's how I feel, Casey. That's how I feel. So I've been trying for a couple of weeks now and have not made any progress. So that's why I'm calling all the brave painters out there to see what we can do.
Hit up that thing. Yeah. All right. Well, that's good, because we need to make a change.
Make a change. Yeah.
.org. Yeah. Oh man.
So that's what I got.
Good. Well, thank you again for joining us on another episode of Paint Bravely. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing this message with your hobby friends. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time.